Throughout human history, the night sky has inspired awe, wonder, and questions about the nature of existence. Gazing upon the stars, ancient peoples pondered the mysteries of creation, the unseen forces guiding the cosmos, and the intermediaries between humanity and the divine. Central to these contemplations has been the concept of celestial beings: angels, archangels, seraphim, cherubim, and a host of other spiritual entities. In this episode, we will explore the celestial hierarchy as it appears in the world's great religious traditions. From the Torah and the Christian Bible to the Quran, the Ethiopian Bible, and the apocryphal and pseudepigraphal writings that shaped early religious thought. We will journey through scripture, tradition, and scholarly interpretations to better understand these messengers, warriors, and guardians of the unseen realms. Let us begin in the Hebrew scriptures, the Torah and the Tanakh. In these ancient texts, the word for angel is malach, meaning messenger. Unlike later depictions that emphasize wings and radiant light, the malachim of the Torah often appear in human form, indistinguishable from men until their divine mission is revealed. The angelic figures in Genesis, such as those who visit Abraham or warn Lot to flee Sodom, are messengers of God's will, bearers of guidance, promise, and judgment. Beyond the term malach, the Hebrew scriptures reference other beings. The cherubim appear as guardians of sacred spaces, first mentioned in Genesis when they are stationed at the gates of Eden to bar humanity's return, armed with flaming swords. In the construction of the Ark of the Covenant, cherubim are depicted with outstretched wings, overshadowing the mercy seat, symbolizing both God's throne and his abiding presence. The seraphim, mentioned explicitly in the vision of the prophet Isaiah, are described as beings of fire with 6 wings, 2 covering their faces, 2 covering their feet, and 2 for flight. They cry out in perpetual praise, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." The seraphim embody the majesty and purity of the divine, their fiery form perhaps representing both passion and purification. In the intertestamental period, during the development of Jewish mysticism and apocalyptic literature, we encounter a more elaborate angelology. Books such as Enoch, part of the Ethiopian biblical canon, and apocryphal in other traditions, describe an intricate hierarchy of heavenly beings. The Book of the Watchers, an early portion of Enoch, speaks of rebellious angels who descended to earth, taught forbidden knowledge, and brought corruption leading to the flood. Names like Uriel, Raphael, Regal, Sariel, and Ramiel are introduced, expanding the angelic pantheon beyond the few named figures in the Hebrew Bible. The Christian tradition builds upon these foundations. The New Testament continues to present angels as messengers and agents of God's providence. The archangel Gabriel announces the birth of Christ to Mary, while Michael emerges as a warrior, leading the armies of heaven against the dragon in Revelation. In Christian angelology, particularly as articulated by thinkers like Pseudo-Dionysius, the Areopagite, we see the emergence of a formal celestial hierarchy. 9 orders grouped into 3 triads. The first triad, seraphim, cherubim, and thrones, stands closest to God, contemplating his glory and will. The second triad, dominions, virtues, and powers, governs the cosmos and implements divine governance. The final triad, principalities, archangels, and angels, serves as intermediaries, interacting more directly with the world and humanity. This schema profoundly influenced both Eastern Orthodox and Western Christian theology, as well as art and culture. Turning to the Quran, we find a rich tradition of angelology that emphasizes both the power and submission of these beings to the will of Allah. The Quran refers to Malaika, created from light, without free will, whose sole purpose is to worship and obey the commands of God. Gabriel, also known as Jibril, is the archangel of revelation, who brought the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad. Mikhail provides nourishment to God's creatures. Israfel will blow the trumpet to announce the day of resurrection. And Azrael, the angel of death, takes the souls of the departed. The Quranic angels are not objects of worship, nor intermediaries for prayer. They serve solely as manifestations of divine power and mercy, or as executors of judgment. The Quran further speaks of guardian angels assigned to each individual, recording deeds and protecting against harm according to God's will. The Ethiopian Bible, a unique and ancient canon, preserves and venerates many texts lost to other traditions. The Book of Enoch holds a place of great importance. detailing the fall of the Watchers, the secrets of heaven, and the judgment of the rebellious. The Ethiopian tradition also speaks of angelic hosts who serve around God's throne, emphasizing the cosmic struggle between good and evil, and the active role of angels in guiding history toward divine purposes. In the Apocrypha and pseudepigraphal, we encounter yet more elaborations on the celestial order. Texts like To Esdras Jubilees and Testament of the 12 Patriarchs reflect on angelic intercession, cosmic warfare, and the mysterious workings of the heavenly court. These writings, while not included in all canons, deeply influenced early Jewish and Christian thought, shaping how believers understood the invisible world. Throughout these traditions, certain themes endure. Angels and celestial beings are not independent deities, but servants of the Most High, manifestations of divine will. They are protectors, messengers, warriors, and worshippers. Their hierarchy reflects both the majesty of God and the order of creation. And yet, angels are not mere symbols. They represent the reality of a universe filled with life beyond what our senses can perceive. They remind us of the nearness of the divine, the unseen struggle between good and evil, and the promise of guidance and protection on our earthly journey. As we journey from sacred texts into the modern age, we find that the fascination with angels and celestial beings has not waned. Instead, these figures have taken on new life in the realm of popular culture, literature, film, television, and art, where they continue to inspire, challenge, and captivate audiences across the world. From the earliest illuminated manuscripts to contemporary cinema, the imagery of angels has been a powerful symbol. Sometimes faithful to ancient sources, sometimes reimagined to reflect modern hopes and fears. In literature, angels have been portrayed as both noble and tragic figures. John Milton's Paradise Lost, one of the great epics of English poetry, depicts the fall of Lucifer, the brightest of angels, whose rebellion against God sets the stage for humanity's fall. Here, the celestial hierarchy becomes the backdrop for profound meditations on free will, pride, and redemption. In the 20th and 21st centuries, authors have continued to explore angelic themes, often blending ancient traditions with fantasy and speculative fiction. In his Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, angels appear as complex, sometimes flawed beings engaged in a cosmic struggle, reflecting both theological questions and human concerns about authority and rebellion. Works like the 2024 novel Seven Seals, Seven Trumpets by D.S. Lopez have revisited the celestial hierarchy through a modern lens, blending scriptural analysis with cultural commentary. This work explores how angelic beings, from the heralds of Revelation to the watchers of ancient texts, continue to shape human imagination in times of global uncertainty. Lopez examines the symbolism of angels in apocalyptic narratives, highlighting how these figures resonate with contemporary concerns about justice, judgment, and divine intervention in a fractured world. The world of film and television has similarly embraced angelic imagery. In It's a Wonderful Life, the character of Clarence, the angel, embodies the idea of divine assistance and second chances, becoming an enduring symbol of hope. The film reminds audiences that unseen forces may guide and protect in times of despair. In contrast, movies such as Legion or Constantine present darker, more apocalyptic visions of angels as warriors, judges, or beings caught between duty and doubt. These modern interpretations often draw loosely on biblical and apocryphal traditions, blending them with horror, action, or psychological drama to explore the boundaries of good and evil. Television series like Supernatural and Lucifer have further reimagined angels, demons, and celestial hierarchies, depicting them with human-like struggles, moral ambiguity, and complex motivations. While these portrayals depart from traditional doctrines, they reflect enduring questions. What is the nature of good and evil? Can celestial beings fall or change? How do unseen powers influence the human world? Even in art, video games, comics, and music, angels and other celestial beings continue to inspire. They appear on album covers as characters in graphic novels and as symbols in works that address themes of salvation, rebellion, or existential mystery. It is important to recognize that while these cultural depictions often take great creative license, they speak to a deep human desire. The longing for connection with the transcendent, the hope that there are forces of light watching over us, and the fear that those same forces might one day become adversaries. In popular culture, as in sacred tradition, angels remain powerful messengers, not only of the divine, but of our own inner struggles, dreams, and questions about the universe. They remind us that, whether in scripture or story, the heavens have always been closer than they seem. As we conclude our exploration of the celestial hierarchy, we find that these beings, whether as malachim, seraphim, cherubim, malaika, or archangels, have served as bridges between the finite and the infinite across millennia. From the burning bush to the Annunciation, from the battlefield of Armageddon to the day of resurrection. They stand as witnesses to God's providence and as signs of hope in the human story.